of the Word, Lesson 619.
Well, let's all look for Philippians chapter 1, verse 12. It says, "But I want you to know, brethren, that the things which happened to me," are we all there? "That the things which happened to me have actually turned out for the furtherance of the gospel." The Apostle Paul wrote in this chapter, he started to think about his life. But it seems that he started to recollect everything that had happened to him. And then he writes it and he said, "Look, brothers, I want you to know that everything, say everything, everything that has happened to me has actually turned out for the furtherance of the gospel." But you know that God does not make an exception in people. I also have to say, everything that has happened to me has turned out for the furtherance of the gospel in my life and in the life of others. And in your life, it's the same story. Everything that has happened to you personally, hurtful situations that you do not even want people to know about. But it says here that everything, in other words, our lives have all been cared for and taken according to the purpose that God has with you, because God governs all of our lives. That's why the psalmist said, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. When he falls, he shall not stay down, for the Lord holds his hand." Solomon, the wisest man with the earthly wisdom, he said, "Many thoughts come to a man's mind, but above all those thoughts is the Lord's will, which will eventually execute itself in your life." And God does that to tame us, to take our life until you give up. Well, that's how our life is. As long as you keep fighting, you cannot say, "Look, now I understand that everything that has happened to me has worked out for the best in my life." God governs our lives. For example, look what it says in Romans chapter 9 to continue in the same line of thinking. It says, "For the children not yet being born, nor having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to the election might stand, not of works, but of him who calls. It was said to her, the older shall serve the younger. As it is written, Jacob I have loved, but Esau I have hated. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with God? Certainly not. For he says to Moses, I will have mercy on whomever I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whomever I will have compassion. So then it is not of him who wills, nor of him who runs, but of God who shows mercy." Because it doesn't depend on your works. It depends on the election, and God elected you. But as long as your reasoning and your opinion is what governs your life, as long as that personality that's so tough continues fighting, you will suffer more. But if you are a chosen vessel of mercy, he already has an outlined plan for you. They are works prepared beforehand. Rest. Let the oven give you the proper heat to cook you. The better you are cooked, the more delicious you look, and the quicker we can eat you. The quicker you are useful for what you were formed for. Everything that you can learn, all the experience that you obtain as a human being, especially in the university of your life, is the best that you can have to be able to be a blessing to others and eventually, naturally, for yourself. But what's important is to always think of the others. If you are concentrated on you, first me, second me, third me, and what's leftovers for me, you are losing your life. It's always good to think, how can you be useful to help others out? That's marvelous. If you see the life of Jesus in the days of his flesh, he was always resolving everyone's problems. The Samaritan woman, the blind, the lame, even dying like this. He was saying, help my mother. And forgive them. They do not know what they are doing. And we have to reach the stature of a perfect man. The more you learn, your life will be better to be useful for the Lord. It is not in vain that you have suffered what you have suffered. But look, I suffered. Today I am reigning, because everyone who suffers reigns. God cannot be mocked.
We conclude that the children of grace have been educated with the gospel of uncircumcision, and now we can pass through the fire of the oven of the word and be formed thanks to our father, Dr. Jose Luis de Jesus Miranda. Thanks to his science, the gospel of grace, today we can understand our lives have been cared for and carried according to the purpose God has for each of us. We love you, Daddy.
With the mark on my mind and body, I will be redressed. With burning flames, emitting energy with the body, it's no fantasy. Because I know that